The movie begins with a demon cat who used to live a life in a jungle very peacefully, but when human beings started deforestation, and as many animals started to die, the poor cat had no choice but to leave his home, and started to live in the streets. This cat is called Hei, who concealed her identity from the humans so he can steal food for survival. One night, we see some boys chasing after him, until they got to a storage room, where Hei had nowhere to run. We find out that these boys were trying to kill the cat because of his nature. In order to defend himself, he transforms into his true demonic form, but a guy who controls vines saves him from the gang. This guy is also a demon, and tells the cat not to be afraid of him, and even reveals his true demonic form just to prove to the cat that he is just a monster just like him, making the cat to feel safe and secure around the boy. The boy reveals his name to be Fengxi, and takes Hei to a secret world through a pillar, which is a jungle, that turns out to be so beautiful and magnificent. Fengxi assures Hei to feel really safe at this place, because it is completely free from humans. Fengxi introduces the cat to a guy called Xiao-Hei, who is just a monster just like them, and two more guys suddenly shows up, and Fengxi introduces them as Tianzu, and the other one is Luo, who is just like them. These guys are his best friends, and are the only ones that lives in this jungle. Luo was like, "Why did you bring a cat in here?" And the cat suddenly transforms into a handsome-looking human boy, and protested that he is not a cat, that his name is Hei. They all adored him, and welcomes him joyfully. The scene suddenly takes us back to the city, where we see a demon, who is being chased by a mysterious guy. We don't know much about this guy, but looking at the way he was fighting this demon, it shows this guy is really powerful. As soon as he defeated the demon in an effortless manner, we get to find out that this guy is a spirit warrior, who captures bad demons. We see some spirit butterflies who communicated with the mysterious guy, saying they have found Fengxi. On the other hand, we see Hei, who has just started to bond with Fengxi and his group. Hei decided to join their group, because he feels at home with them. That's why we see them celebrating a new member. Fengxi shows Hei his room, which made Hei so excited, because he has never had a room this beautiful in his life, and will never get to leave in the streets again. In the next morning, Hei wakes up only to hear some strange noises, and as he senses danger, he runs towards the direction of the sound, only to see Fengxi and his friends, who were being attacked by the spirit warrior, whose name was later revealed as Wushen. Wushen was trying to capture Fengxi and his friends because they are demons. Fengxi and his friends tried their very best to defeat this guy, but he was much more stronger than the four of them at once. Fengxi tells his friends to run into the portal, while he tries his best to hold off the spirit warrior, but Hei couldn't leave Fengxi all alone in the danger and goes out to help Fengxi, who we see defending Wushen attacks, by using his wood powers. Hei tries to help, but he is knocked out without even getting to fight. Because of this, Fengxi gets the chance to escape through the portal with his friends, making Wushen to lose trace of them. Hei was left all alone in the forest, and as Wushen checks on Hei only to think he is dead, he suddenly uses his godly powers to elevate himself into the clouds, and started to search for the whereabouts of Fengxi and his friends. We see Fengxi and his friends who are really at shock, because they were all defeated by just one man. Fengxi believes this man isn't any ordinary human, and must be a very powerful spirit warrior. They all felt guilty on leaving Hei behind, but we see Fengxi who is really so determined to rescue Hei, even though his friends reminded him how powerful the warrior is. Fortunately, Luo had already left a marking on Hei's body, which can help them track down Hei's whereabouts. Fengxi wants to challenge the spirit warrior in a fight, and gives his friends the responsibility of finding Hei. We see all three of them spreading tracking seeds using their powers, so they can find Hei's whereabouts. Meanwhile, Hei wakes up from unconsciousness, and goes around the forest, but couldn't find Fengxi and his friends. Wushen suddenly shows up in front of him, and informs Hei that he will take him to the guild. We don't know what happens to demons there, but Hei doesn't want to go. Hei tries different methods and even transforms himself into a gigantic monster, but was easily subdued by Wushen, who ties him in a rope and forcefully takes Hei on a boat to the guild. During their journey, Hei tries to make his escape again using different methods, but ended up drowning himself, but Wushen rescues him. Hei looks around, and when he realizes that he has no options, he gave up in his escape attempts. Suddenly a huge storm approaches them, and as Hei tries to save himself from the storm, he unconsciously unleashes a domain powers that stop the storm. This astonishes Wushen, who believes there is really something special about him. Suddenly Wushen takes Hei to a spiritual world, where we see a big house in the midst of a very large blank space. Wushen tells Hei that this is his spiritual space, and every living thing also has a spiritual space like this one to call their home.
Hei is really at shock when he also found out that he has his spiritual space. By touching his hands, Wu Shen realizes that Hei is also as powerful as him, and also has the ability to control metals. Wu Shen was like, "Would you like to control metal?"
But Hei was like, "What for?" and says no because he doesn't trust the spirit warrior. As they continued their journey, Hei began to have a second thought about this, as he believes maybe learning it will be of great use to him, and he might even use it to escape. Suddenly he tells Wu Shen to teach him how to control metals. After a while, Hei started to encounter great experiences, like having amazing meals, swimming for the first time in his life, and he even caught a fish, which is a really hard thing for him to do. Meanwhile, we see Fengxi friends, who are still looking for Hei.
As for Fengxi, he enters a restaurant to look for a guy called Brush Tiger.
As soon as he found the guy who reveals his identity, they both started to engage in a very intensive combat. After a while, Fengxi defeated the monster, and absolved all the powers of the beast. Fengxi is trying to gather a lot of energy inside of him, which will give him enough powers to challenge the spirit warrior, Wu Shen. Hei was like, "If you have the powers of a god which makes you to fly, why traveling on a boat?" Fengxi replies saying he can't use his powers for a longer period. Hei also wanted to know why Wu Shen was chasing after Fengxi and his friends, but he didn't get any response. Meanwhile, after a long search between Fengxi friends, Lizu was able to find the location of Hei, and they all started to plan on a strategy on stopping Wu Shen before they arrive at the guild. After a long journey, Wu Shen and Hei finally arrived at the dry lands, and takes Hei to a nearby restaurant to buy him a meal. After they had their meal, Wu Shen realizes that both his money and his phone for a transfer is wet, so they both flee from the place, because they couldn't pay the restaurant owner. We find out that Wu Shen is taking Hei to a place called the Spirit Guild, which is a home for both the demons and the spirits. Wu Shen explains to Hei that he is like a law enforcer, whose responsibility is to fight crimes, and ensure peace between humans and monsters. When Hei hears the word humans, he changes his mind on going to the place again, and because of his hesitation, Wu Shen decided to forcefully take him to the guild. At dawn, Wu Shen roasted a chicken for dinner, which made Hei to remember all his exciting moments with Fengxi and his friends. Wu Shen was like, "Why are you always too mad at me?" And Hei replies saying, "Because he is a bad person." Wu Shen asks Hei on what made him believe Fengxi is a good person in just a day they met. Hei replies saying because Fengxi was the only person who treated him with kindness, gave him food, and even gave him a home. But Wu Shen was like he also just did that. Hei couldn't give up on his escape plans, which made Wu Shen to tie him in a rope once again, as they continue their journey to the guild. He also started to get better with his abilities in controlling metals, and tries to use it to make his escape, but still ended up tied in a rope. The more time he started to spend with Wu Shen, Hei started to find goodness in humanity, and he started to change his ideology on hating humans, as he believes not every one of them are the same. On the other hand, we see Fengxi friends who are still in search for Hei. When Hei and Wu Shen were resting in a cave, some group of people who controls different elements started to attack him. We find out that these people are friends with Wu Shen, and they are also spirit warriors like him, who were just having fun at his expense. Hei tells Wu Shen that he is going to get some sleep, and suddenly uses the opportunity to make his escape again, but he was caught. We see Hei tied in a rope, while Wu Shen is having a long conversation with his friends, whom he hasn't seen in a while. The spirits explains to Hei that the guild is a very spectacular place, where they guide little spirit like him, and also helps them in the adaptation into the modern world. Hei still wants to know why they are after Fengxi and his friends, and the spirits explains that they do not have any hard feelings towards Fengxi, but Fengxi has this internalized hatred for humans, and they are against the balance and peace between humans and monsters. Humans are just like spirits, they are not all bad or good. Just hard to distinguish the two. The spirit warriors just wanted to talk to Fengxi, but he keeps shutting them out. The female spirit among them does not only like humans, but she is really obsessed with them, because of how creative they are. When the spirits were leaving, Wu Shen suddenly requested for money from them, which helped them to buy a lot of fantastic meals. A really cool sport car passed them by, and tells Wu Shen to buy the car which can help in a faster journey to their destination, but he instead bought a scooter, because he doesn't know how to drive. With time, Hei started to get interested in human technologies, and him and Wu Shen suddenly started to develop a strong bond. They both lodged at a hotel, where Wu Shen told him that if they arrive at the guild, and he doesn't like it, he will let him go. Hei has a very special power, which is so strong to allow him to do anything he wants. That's why Wu Shen is taking him to the guild, so he won't indulge himself in wrongdoings. Meanwhile, we see the friends of Wu Shen, who are also law enforcers like Wu Shen, and are investigating the place where Fengxi fought with the tiger beast.
They found out that Fengxi has stolen the powers of the tiger beast, which surprises them, because they didn't know Fengxi has that kind of powers. At the same time, we see Hei and Wuxian, who continued their journey through a tunnel. Hei was like, "When are they going to arrive?"
Because they have been traveling for days now. Wuxian tells him that as soon as they passed through the tunnel, they would have arrived at their destination.
As soon as they got to the city where humans live, Wuxian tells Hei that they would have to conceal their identity and behave like humans, so the actual humans won't be scared of them.
We find out that Hei and Wuxian were being closely watched by two people. Suddenly, some group of civilians surrounded them, but Wuxian tells Hei not to hurt them because they are being controlled by someone. These mysterious persons doing the mind control teleports Hei to where their location, and captures him. Wuxian uses his godly speed before they could get away with Hei, and easily defeated one of them, and as the other one tries to mind control civilians to fight Wuxian, but he was able to stop the guy in time, and rescues Hei, but the fight didn't end there as we find out that one of them has the ability to control the earth, and Wuxian continues his fight with them, until they got to the top of the train. The fight really caused a lot of destruction, and as the stone was about to harm the civilians, Hei, who has now regained consciousness, saves them from the rock. To his surprise, instead of the people condemning him for being a demon as expected, they were all thanking him for saving their lives. Suddenly, Fengxi and his friends shows up and started to attack Wuxian. As Wuxian was already starting to overpower them with his godly powers, Fengxi uses his powers to destroy the bridge, which gives Wuxian no choice but to go save the people in the train, making them to escape with Hei. Some spirit from the guild suddenly arrives at the scene, and informs Wuxian that Fengxi has the ability to absolve other people powers, which made Wuxian to realize that Fengxi only wanted Hei, because he secretly wants to absolve his powers. The guild master, knowing how serious the situation is if Fengxi takes Hei powers, orders one of his men to mobilize all the spirit warriors to assist Wuxian in finding Fengxi, and also helping all the civilians to evacuate from the city. Hei is very excited to meet his friends once again, and tells Fengxi that Wuxian wants him to live at the guild, and asks Fengxi why he hates the guild so much. Fengxi tells him a story that long time ago, there was a jungle which was like the heavens, and lots of spirit used to live there. Until one day the humans entered their peaceful jungle and started to cut down trees to build houses and feed their fires, and even became part of the forest in time. Fengxi still didn't hate them, and they were actually fun in their own way. Humans are friendly and emotional, and even feared and respected the spirits. All of a sudden the humans began to destroy the forest totally and started to build factories, which chased all the spirits away from the forest. Because of this, Fengxi holds resentment towards the humans, and doesn't want to leave his home for the humans' selfish desires, and wants to fight them to get revenge. That's why the guild organization are against him. Fengxi tells Hei that with his powers, they can destroy the entire civilization and build their own world, so they can all live peacefully. But Hei believes this is not the right thing to do, and tells Fengxi that they should instead find a place far away from the humans, rather than hurting them. But Fengxi gets furious because of this and uses his plant powers to capture Hei, as he plans to absolve all his powers. Lizu begs Fengxi not to do so because if Fengxi tries to absolve Hei's powers, he is going to lose his life. This was really a heartbreaking moment to watch, as Fengxi managed to absolve Hei's powers, and he died on the spot. Meanwhile, we see Wuxian in the clouds trying to find Hei's location. Wuxian was finally able to track down Hei's location, and according to Fengxi instructions, him and his friends spread out to different directions, so they won't be caught. Wuxian takes Hei into his laps and tries to wake him up, but it was of no use. Wuxian calls his guild master, who checks on Hei, and informs him that he still has a sign of life left, and if his powers are returned to his body, he will be alive again. Immediately, Wuxian leaves Hei in the care of his master, and goes to find Fengxi. All the spirits warriors were all around the city, trying to capture Fengxi and his gang. Wuxian finally found Fengxi, and tells him to return Hei's powers back to him. Wuxian questions him on why he claims on helping the spirits, when he takes Hei's life to do that. They get into a really tough fight, but even though Fengxi was defeated, he has nothing to be afraid of, because he has stabilized the main powers of Hei, and if he is killed, there will be no hope for Hei to be alive again. Suddenly Fengxi started to spread his domain powers all around the city, while we see the guild leader telling all the spirit warriors to help the humans to escape to a safe place. With their powers, they were able to transport the humans away from the danger. Wuxian enters Fengxi's domain, and they both started to engage in another epic combat. Suhai, who is one of Fengxi gang, is being chased by a spirit warrior, but he manages to overpower the spirit warrior using his water powers. As he tries to join Fengxi in his own domain, a spirit who controls fire stops him. We find out that this spirit is Nezha, who joins in the fight to try and subdue Fengxi and his gang. Meanwhile, Hei was dreaming about all the moments he had with Fengxi. Suddenly he wakes up in the world of the dead, as we see him so heartbroken, because he couldn't believe the person he trusted the most could do such a thing to him.
Eventually, he hears a voice of Wuxian and Fengxi who are fighting each other.
Fengxi has gotten much more stronger, which was really too hard for Wuxian to defeat.
Fengxi subdues him after a long struggle, and as he was about to kill Wuxian, Hei suddenly appears and stops him.
Wuxian teaches Hei how to fly and how to control the elements as we see them heading towards Fengxi in full speed, so they can stop him. As Fengxi keeps subduing them, Hei suddenly gets so furious, and unconsciously gain control over the entire domain, and as the furious Fengxi is about to give a final attack, Hei stops him with just one finger. Fengxi transforms into his demonic form, but Hei increases the pressure of gravity on him, that made all his attacks entirely useless.
Immediately, Hei destroys the entire domain, and Fengxi uses his own powers to take his life, and while doing so, he apologizes to Hei for his wrongdoings.
When Hei was finally taken to the guild, we see him so happy, as the whole place turns out to be so beautiful and exciting. And that was how the movie ended.
Thank you for watching, guys. If you love animation movies, please subscribe to this channel and keep watching.
Bye.